I was like, wait, so what are these guys doing? So one of the telcos, unfortunately, I can't mention the name, is now offering their own USSD code to allow you to be able to buy airtime and credit, all those other things for your phone. I was like, wait. See this man, though, you've already you've got that in number. Okay. Hey, Sonia, it wasn't me. It was Valentine. Right. Oh, okay. Okay. How you fooled me. I thought you turned on your microphone. Okay. So also okay. Good. Nobody heard Valentine. So anyway, but Val, I mean, that's very interesting because that's if you think about it, the USSD codes. For some reason, my brain is like that's only a space for the banks to play in. No, it's not. A telco can jump into that space and do the same thing.
But did you know there was a provision for that? Like they had the right to do that, or they had powers to do that.
But the banks didn't want them to.
They were fighting it at
some point. Yeah, right. Well back.
At what stage in this narrative did that switch? Did they get necessary approval or did
to be able to do it? Because now, if the other telcos do it, and now you can use a USSD code directly through your telco.
That's
you don't need to. Exactly. You don't need to go through your bank. See, they need to just give the telco. Allow them. See, is it in South Africa? There's a telco. I can't remember the name of the company. It's in South Africa. They've jumped into that space to where they are challenging the South African banks. It's a very, very interesting development, and it's going to be something that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with regards to this whole this financial space and how telcos can actually perhaps make as much of an impact, if not more than an impact, than the financial institutions. It's going to be very. It just hit me. I was like, since
if you think about it, who has more technological backing for such services? The telcos.
Right, exactly, and they have folks in rural areas and all that stuff.
They have all that data. The banks have to subscribe to them.
Exactly.
For them to provide as third-party services, but.
And then it's hitting up, and the fintechs as well. Interswitch is there too. All these fintech companies, they're also in that space as well. Interesting stuff. Anyway, look, folks, what are your Q2 GDP expectations? That is coming out today at 8:30 a.m. From the Bureau of Statistics. Statistician General Yemi Kale tweeted it on Friday that our Q2 GDP figures will be out today. So what are your expectations? Business day, they've already, I don't know whether they got the expo, but their headline for today, they're saying we contracted by 6%. That is what business day is saying. Maybe they've seen the figures already. I don't know. I'm just going by what I read. If we did in fact contract by 6%, that would be the sharpest contraction that we've seen in recent memory. So realistically, as far as GDP was concerned for Q1 2020, where we grew at 1.8%, of course, that was a slowdown from 2.5% in Q4. But anyway, our worst contraction so far, I mean, on a yearly GDP growth rates was minus 1.58. Remember in 2016 when the recession hit. So, if we contract at 6%, the thing now is how do you grow out of that hole to back into the positive region for Q3. That is where we are right now. We're in Q3 right now as we speak. So the lockdowns are being eased. I mean, I went to the mall yesterday to buy some stuff. The lounges out there were open. Of course, people were social distancing and stuff like that. Worship centers are now back now. I think some of them are back. Yeah, most of them are back. But then worship centers, they don't really count towards GDP, right? It's goods and services produced within an economy, unless you want to count tithes. Unless should we count tithes? If we count tithes, then let's leave that alone. Let's leave that one alone. So, look, everything was grounded. The worst months were May and June. I think that's when things it was real crunch time. So no flights. I mean, nobody was able to move, and so that's where things could have gotten really ugly. So we'll see what the number is. As far as stagflation, has Nigeria been in stagflation for a while? Or are we just getting in there? Stagflation is slowing GDP growth slowing productivity, rising unemployment, rising inflation. Folks like Ugo Dre of Nairametrics would argue that we've been in fact, others would argue that we've been in stagflation for quite a while. So we will see what those figures come out to be, and I'll talk about it on the marketplace later this afternoon at 5:15. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. But the key is going to be how quickly can we grow out of, because if we don't, then and Q3 is also negative as well. I mean, think about it. How do you go from, if the business day figure is correct and we're at negative 6% for Q2? How do you bounce back from negative 6% back to zero and then into positive territory to avoid falling into our first recession, second recession in 4 years, just 4 years? If that happens, President Buhari would have had three recessions in his three terms. That's
Making history.
that's not the kind of it's not the kind of history you want to make, where every single one of your terms in office the country was in a recession. Anyway, it's not pretty. Yeah, messages. Yeah.
Let's take messages, yes, please. WhatsApp 0809 This one is from Ibrahim. He said the income sharing formula will be maintained, but the telcos would have more bargaining power due to GDP expectations. I hope that 6% contraction is not true. I'd say less than 5% contraction.
Okay. Yeah, give us your figures. Thank you for that. You guys throw in your figures. Some people said, if I spoke to another economist said 5%. Someone said between 10 to 15%. I mean, there's some ugly contractions out there. I mean, we'll have to see. But yeah, throw in your figures. Let me know what you guys think.
MI from Akoka says, once upon a time, the USSD was a blue ocean, but these days, all the great white sharks have turned into a red ocean. Companies are doing the most these days to generate new streams of income or information. Rotus, I am not so bothered by the national GDP, but the per capita GDP. That's where the Google really need to be careful.
Yep.
And the Yinka says, I'm patiently waiting for the banks to scream and complain that the telcos are playing into their zone. They will remind them of how the banks rendered the recharge card sellers useless. But in all their heads, there's a need for the federal government to protect businesses. I feel they should have protected the recharge card sellers. Okay, thank you.
But truly, I mean, good. I appreciate your point, Yinka. But Val, who's going to still be buying from?
I mean,
recharge card sellers. I mean, it's so slow.
I know, but then technological advancement, I wouldn't blame them because that's the level of business they understand. They should have adapted to new changes.
Yes.
And, reform their process, sell recharge cards,
Get a phone, or something. If somebody comes to you, give me your number, you send it to them or something. But there's just...
The stalls had to phase out.
Yeah, there's just no way that you can still support somebody selling recharge cards when you can pick up your phone and just do it yourself. It's natural advantage. As Yinka has made a good point. If you can pick up your phone and do it through your bank app, why can't the telcos also be able to facilitate it as well? So,
although I know a few banks that are providing agency services for people like that.
Right.
That have own stores, physical stores to sell recharge cards.
Yeah.
To, sublet some banking services,
right?
Low-end banking services.
It's the fintechs, though. Again, the fintechs they are coming. They're already offering. There's the one company I keep talking about that is offering the highest interest rate I've seen on fixed deposits is a fintech company. So of course, it's because they're a lender, so they lend at such high rates. They're able to now give people investment rates at double digits. But again, we have to watch this space and see how things. Yinka is typing again. I have to see watch this space. Yeah, what did Daya say?
Daya says, "Good morning, all. Why wouldn't the telcos delve into fintech when banks are also selling recharge cards?
Yep,
both have become complementary and overlapping service businesses."
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
Emma is back. He says the pandemic and a dip in just smoke screens, bad policies are the primary cause of recession. As it was in 1984, so it is in 2020. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
Oh wow.
Yinka says they were doing it. VTU, remember?
Yes, that's true.
I have my line loaded every month by the office via an agent. They still use it, and it's called VTU. Thank you, Yinka.
Interesting.
Virtual transfer.
Wow, people still amazing. Okay.
Nicola says, "Good morning to you. The banks do not have the right to complain. They also did it to other sectors like travel agencies. They started issuing tickets on their apps. And the survival."
I forgot about that. Thank you for that. I forgot about that. The banks have been disrupting people for a while, though. Look, you see them. They've been disrupting me. Now it's your turn.
Michael, I'll say
what?
Backstory.
Yeah.
I mean, behind this information, one banker, my account manager, right?
Yeah.
He once told me that these recharge card sellers, the
Mm.
amount they cash in every week,
Mm.
1 week runs into billions.
Yeah.
So if a banker
Wants
sees
to,
that kind of inflow,
of course, you want to take over.
come on,
You want-
why am I the one providing you these services? Why not?
Ah.
Onyeweke from Marina says, good morning. Recharge card sellers should become agency banks. That way, they will be able to stay afloat rather than die off. Thank you, Michael.
It's tough. It's tough. I haven't. I mean, I remember when I used to buy from them. I don't do it anymore. So it's just the convenience of picking up my phone and doing it. Okay, AFDB now, the African Development Bank. Nigeria has doubled her voting rights. I think you're able to do this by paying subscriptions or something, as is what you contribute towards the African Development Bank that it now uses to lend to other countries or so. So we've gone from about 8% to 16.8%. This is ahead of the AGM that's taking place between the 20. In fact, that's this week. Yeah, the 25th and 27th. Yeah, now because today is the 24th. Yeah, so between tomorrow and Thursday, I believe. Akinwumi Additional, president of the AFDB, he's running unopposed. Remember all that drama where they were hitting on him and saying that these anonymous whistleblowers who were able to keep their identities anonymous, but somehow, but they leaked the allegations that he's doing nepotism or whatever while at the AFDB. Ethics committee cleared him. Mr. Steve Mnuchin of the U.S. Treasury Secretary came out and said, no, I don't like it. Get an independent body, investigate him again. And they did. They still cleared him. So he's this is what it amounts to, because he also mentioned that he's running unopposed, so forth. But anyway,
no, change the policy of whistleblowing within that.
Well, is that the thing? So, right, where if you make an allegation, you have to bring out your name.
Exactly. You're hiding yourself.
Right. You see, you shouldn't abuse the privilege, because whistleblowing, should allow you to protect you by being anonymous. If you now abuse it to when you want to start accusing someone, there's issues. So that just gives Nigeria, more voting power. Second place is Germany. They have a 7.8% as far as the voting rights. US is in third at 5.5. AFDB shareholders, just for FYI, all 54 African nations and then 27 nations from the rest of the world. AGM taking place between the 25th and the 27th, and Mr. Additional is expected. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion now. That he should, in fact, win his second term for another 5 years in office. So good for him.
Powerful man.
Yes, indeed.
Friend to the president.
Yeah. Remember when he came? Look, it's good to have friends. He flew down to Abuja. He came in, president, our finance minister, everybody, CBN said we support him, so on and so forth.
Harry Manuel says, I find this protect recharge card seller statements funny. Any government policy that prioritizes long and short-term benefits of business over customers often fails miserably with bad outcomes. Protect the comfort of the consumers instead.
Good point.
MI says banks are crying wolf now. We they keep quiet when disruption. Make you take your L, Jaja. Akinwumi be making us proud and steady. They wanted to do a strong thing, but it ended in God negotiate us.
Exactly. Slam them down.
Not bad for an opposed leader. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. What else? That's it. Yeah. So 8:30 a.m. I'll probably tweet out the GDP figures. I'll retweet the statistician general. So we'll see how things go. Thank you all for your messages, and Nigeria, we need growth. So we'll see tomorrow.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can catch any part of Business Express 981 you might have missed. It's 6:45. I'll be back at 7:30 for Freshly Pressed 981. Stay tuned.
Business Express. Brought to you.
Thank you,
by
sir. All right, now.
Transaction
The bag.
solutions you can depend on.
This is Kylie Bakari.